Hello students, welcome to the new class on basic manufacturing process. My name is Rijo Jacob Thomas. I'm a faculty of Department of Mechanical Engineering, TKM College of Engineering, Kollam, Kerala. Now the word manufacturing came from the Latin word manufactures, means made by hand. If you go back to the history, we didn't have machines and mechanisms wherein which we can manufacture things, but it was all man-made, handmade things. So the word has a big history, but the growth of that area was enormous. It has developed to such a great extent that even we don't need a person there for the whole manufacturing. So manufacturing basically means converting any raw materials into a product. Now the question is that why a production or a mechanical engineer should learn this. Now, as a mechanical engineer or a production engineer, we need to have mechanical systems, and we always improve our system. So when it comes to new systems, that has to be made for the first time. Now this process of making it has to have the lowest cost, improved quality, as well as the time taken for making it should be minimum. Now in these three aspects, if you see this manufacturing process, there are a lot of things a mechanical engineer or a production engineer can contribute. For instance, if I have a bolt with me, for manufacturing this, there are a number of methods. Now the question is that which one I will choose, or the combination of what all methods I will use for making this one with the lowest possible price or the cost, with the best quality, as well as in the least time. So we need to know what are the different processes that are available, what are their pros and cons, where are they applied, or what all things can be made out of this. This knowledge will make us more versatile in selecting or making new products or improving existing products. All right. Now, if you see any manufacturing process, it goes through different phases. For example, we have the product design phase, then we need to choose the materials, then we have to select what is the process that we have to use, and the techniques to make it a finished one, a better one, and the treatments and such things. So it is a three-phase process. Now, the first one, once we have an idea about how it looks like and all, that is being converted to a drawing. This drawing is the input to any manufacturing industry. Now this drawing has to be read properly, has to be understood, then the material has to be selected, then it goes to the selection of the manufacturing process. So interpretation of this, proper understanding of these drawings, the requirements of that product, all plays an important role in what process we will select for making this particular product. Now when we come into the making of a product, there are different stages like the initial formation of the shape and the product, then it comes to the finishing, and final one is we may not make it as one unit, it can be multiple units and joined together, depends on what application and what is that we are looking for. But it has these major stages through which we have to go. Now these stages have got different processes. For example, if we say the rough forming stage, the initial forming stage, we have casting, forging, rolling, extrusion, drawing, welding, and a number of processes. Now in finishing, we have making holes, drilling, boring, machining that surfaces, grinding, polishing, and such things. Maybe heat treatments, and final one is the assembly. Now we will be concentrating on this part and some of these ones before we wind up the session. All right. Now we will start with a process which is called casting. Probably many of you will be aware about the word casting because it is one of the simplest way to make something, some metal parts. Now how do we do that? We should have a mold of the product which we want, and to that mold we will pour molten metal, which is the material selected, and allow that to solidify, and we get the product. Now the pattern has to be made, so we have a pattern here. Then we have a packing material onto which this pattern is fixed, and the shape is given to that packing material. It can be sand. So once the pattern is giving the shape to the sand, we remove the pattern and we pour the molten material and we allow it to get solidified, and once it is done, solidified, we take it out, we finish it, and the product is ready. That's what the process is. Now we can have a rough casting, and once the rough casting is ready, we do the finishing, it will be a better one. Maybe we don't have the holes here, we can drill the holes, we can finish the surfaces and all. So these are the stages in which we do it, but the main process in which we have to do it is generally the most common one is called the sand casting. Out of the different casting processes, the most basic one is the sand casting process. Generally, or our mechanical engineering laboratory will have a sand casting facility. So the setup to do sand casting looks like this. It has got different parts, okay, different names and all. Don't be afraid about the different names and all. There are only two parts. One is a bottom chamber and another one is a top chamber. Now the bottom chamber will be, it's a heavy one. It's a heavy one. We generally drag it. So the name of that one is drag, and the upper chamber with which we close the lower chamber is called the cope. So the two main parts of this is cope and drag. Okay. Now the green color one is actually the place where we want the molten material to be there. That means this is our pattern, or this is the product that we want at the end. Now we have an inner core also in it, which is, we don't need any molten material there, so we have kept something there. Then we have portions through which we can pour molten material, and when it becomes in excess, it will come up. So there is a pour-in basin here, you can see it will have the pour-in basin, and there is a blind riser. If there is some air gap and all which is there, then it will be, you know, filled up here, and it goes through this, fills this green cavity, and there is some air vents here. If there is some air trapped inside it, it goes on, and once the whole cavity is filled, then it rises up here, so that we will have an idea that whether the whole thing is filled. Now, there is a parting, this is the joining line between these two, and the whole thing, the other part is all filled with green sand, a type of sand, and it is rammed and packed into a solid like fashion, but it will allow some sort of an absorption and what you call a sort of a saturation and escape, which allows that sand to have that packing. And there are different types of sand used for specific purposes based on what is the requirement and all. Now, the basic process, as I said, is you have a bottom chamber onto which sand is filled, you have a pattern which is giving the shape of that particular product which you wanted to make. So, for example, if you wanted to make a bolt, we will have a pattern which has got this shape, and this shape will be given to that sand, and this will taken out, and these pour-in basin, through this pour-in basin we will pour molten material, and it will fill that chamber half, because we will exactly put at the middle of the product, exactly middle of the two chamber. So, one half we will get in the drag, and the other part we will get in the cop. So, once it is done, then it is filled up, then we make sure that there are no chambers to be filled, everything is totally covered, filled up. Once it is filled up, then we wait for it to get solidified, and once it is solidified, we break open this, take out all the sand, and we have the product ready, which has to be finished. Now, these are some examples you can see. This is from a crucible. They are pouring molten material into the molds which we have done. This is a product which is casted. You can understand from the surface finish that we have. We will also have very big casting facilities. You can see a person standing here, and this is very huge. So, big products, very big products we can make out using this casting process. This is an engine block for an OD engine. So, the engine blocks which has got these complicated shapes and all, it is very difficult to make it with other processes. Generally it has been casted. Okay. So, this is a casted product. This is another V type engine block. There are 6 cylinders, so it is in the V shape. So, this is also again have to be manufactured by casting. So, this actually tells you what is the advantage casting has got over other products. The only thing is we need to have a pattern of this shape, and once the pattern is ready, we can manufacture it. All right.